Welcome back to Ben Keenan Just Can't Stop Talking. Per usual, I am Ben Keenan, and per usual, I just cannot stop talking about literally anything that's going on at any point in time. But the good news for you is I'm actually using my talents for good instead of evil and bringing you the news every single week that you need to know so that you know a little bit about a lot of it. In case you didn't clock into your shift last week, you probably didn't hear the update that I am, for at least the time being, no longer doing a song of the week up front, mainly because YouTube kept pulling that down as like copyright infringement issues. And I'm like, okay, but I'm giving credit to the person and talking about their talent. They're like, we don't care. I'm like, okay, valid. But still, that is a part of my shtick. So like, maybe I find a way to do that. I don't know. But for now, we are going to eliminate that so that you can actually hear me and I'm not just being suppressed on the internet. I'm currently recovering from like day 2 of a hangover because at my big age, it is horrifying. You could have literally one drink and you'd be hungover for a week and a half. Unfortunately, I did not have one drink. I had 1 times like 10 drinks on Friday night, and it's now Sunday afternoon. And I'm just kind of coming back to life. If you hear this fan via the listening portion of the podcast, you know it's because I'm sweating. It's like I put on one layer of anything and it's like, now I'm sweating. And if you're seeing it, that's why. I'm just going to give it like 1 second and we'll kick back in with the top 10 news items that you need to know that happened last week. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the top 10 countdown of things that happened last week. Number 10, the University of Texas will give free tuition to any student whose family makes less than $100,000 annually starting in fall of 2025. So students whose families make less than $100,000 will get free tuition and waived fees at any of the academic universities at the University of Texas system, the Board of Regents announced last Wednesday. The initiative is an expansion of the Promise Plus program, a needs-based financial aid program approved by the board in 2022. The UT system expects that more than 7 million Texas families will meet the income requirements for the new program. The UT system chancellor James B. Milliken said this program is a, quote, game changer that will make, quote, enormous real difference to improve college access for all Texans. Chairman Kevin P. Eltife, E-L-T-I-F-E, said the move is important for families across the state who hadn't previously thought about college as a possibility. Quote, this is so meaningful. There are so many people out there that don't think they have an opportunity to go on to higher education. They think it's out of their reach. I love this. I love this in general. I have been very pro free education for a very, very long time. My family are full of educators and union-related educators, union members. I think that the idea of giving all of these low-income families free tuition is huge, right? It is definitely building out the middle class. It is helping people earn a higher income than they would have, you know, in the first place. Maybe people like really want to go to college. Like, I can't afford that. I can't take out a loan. Who do I have to co-sign? I think this is massive. However, it is based in Texas. And my first thought, because I exist in society as it is at present day, is, okay, which of the fucking Republicans are going to be the first one to sue over this and say, no, we're not giving free shit to anybody. Absolutely not. And I let it ride. Then I decided to read up on it a little bit more. And I'm sure you're not shocked to learn that Texas State Representative Brian Harrison, who is a Republican out of Midlothian, Texas, was critical of the decision in numerous social media posts on Wednesday, calling the move an, quote, outrageous abuse of power. So a worker who did not go to college making $45,000 a year is going to have to subsidize the children of someone making $98,000 a year under this liberal, regressive, and possibly unconstitutional proposal? What the hell? Hey, Brian, I don't work in the government, and even I know that the money that goes towards this type of financial aid is not publicly funded, okay? I don't understand the people who stare at this and they're like, everything that doesn't empower every person is unfair. I'm sorry, isn't that socialism or communism where you want every person to have the exact same thing? We live in a society where not every person benefits from every fucking thing, okay? This is something that will benefit a ton of families. And guess what? The, quote, worker who did not go to college making $45,000 a year still has the opportunity to go to college because they make less than $100,000 a year. It doesn't say somebody who is literally 18 years old. If the person says, oh my God, I've been working for minimum wage for the last 10 years. I wish I would have gone to college. Guess what? They now have the opportunity to do so. And because I'm right about this, as I am about most things, as you've come to learn, we then saw a statement from the UT system spokesperson Paul Corliss saying, quote, The Promise Plus program is not funded through taxes or through any kind of public subsidy. Rather, it is funded through existing UT system endowments. So this is based off of private donations, people who went to the University of Texas system broadly, whether that be Austin or Dallas or Houston or Rio Grande Valley, who said, I want to give money back to this university to give to kids who cannot afford to go otherwise. This is all privately funded. This is not publicly funded at all. And the fact that you now have state representatives who are going to be pissed off enough to say this is fucked up, that people are going to get a good education. I don't want to play politics here, even though I love playing politics. It is just extremely well known that the Republican Party consistently wants to A, remove the Department of Education, and B, defund education broadly because they want to keep their voters uninformed about what the Republicans stand for in most cases. Because in most cases, it is standing for the interests of billionaires and corporations, and they are standing on the backs of the workers, right? So when they say, why should we fund this? What they're saying is, why should we give an opportunity to all of these students who want to go get a better education? Because it is known that people who get a better education are traditionally more likely to vote Democratic because they have an understanding of how the system works. Either way, even though this was just a state representative who made this statement, I am personally waiting for the Attorney General, Ken Paxton of Texas, who is notoriously corrupt in and of himself, to file a lawsuit against this, saying that it's against interests of the Texan, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, we just have to wait and see. I stand firm on the fact that this is really impactful for the people of Texas. Good job, Texas. That is something I didn't think I would say today. Number 9, McDonald's is bringing back their famous McRib for a limited time in December. However, they are also, this is kind of the surprise of the week from them, introducing a half-gallon jug of McRib sauce that you could buy for $20. So it might be a surprise to many, if not all of you, that I have actually never had a McRib. I know I give energy of somebody who loves fast food because I do love fast food. I've just never gone out of my way to get a McRib, especially because it's not year round. So unless I do this in December, I'm not, trying it. And I just get stressed out by the lines. People are out shopping and then they go to the drive-thru at McDonald's and they sit there for 45 minutes. And I don't want to spend 45 minutes in line for McDonald's. I'm so sorry. So I only bring that up because I'm going to read about this announcement directly from an article from Taste of Home, which is apparently a news outlet about food, I think. Quote, McDonald's promises that McRib season will be extra saucy this year. Legendary isn't a word we use lightly when it comes to fast food items, but the McRib might be one which we bestow that honor. First added to the menu in 1981, the saucy sandwich was only available in Kansas. Oh, that's interesting. But it soon became a monumental hit across the country. Fun fact, the same man who invented the McRib, McDonald's executive chef Renee Aaron, is also the creator of Chicken McNuggets. I don't know if that is really a fun fact because I would have assumed the executive chef at McDonald's would be the person who kind of created a lot of the menu items, but that's just me. We continue. Now, the McRib comes and goes as all good things do, but its almighty return is about to happen again. Not only that, but it's also bringing a half-gallon of McRib sauce as a sidekick. Do you absolutely adore McDonald's sauces? Have you ever dreamt of having a half-gallon McDonald's McRib sauce in your fridge for every vital occasion? Literally, no, never. I've never once considered that. You can now make that dream a reality. It's officially called, quote, a whole lot of McRib sauce and is a mere $19.99 on the Whole Lotta. I had to reread that because it's literally called the Whole Lotta McRib sauce website. They have their own website for the McRib sauce, which I respect and fear. You can buy one starting November 25th, so tomorrow if you're listening to this on Sunday when the episode dropped, but only while supplies last. The McRib is available starting December 3rd at McDonald's. So while the McRib sauce is available on November 25th, you're going to have to wait a few extra days in order to slather your McRib in more sauce than it already comes with, which will be available starting December 3rd for an undetermined amount of time, I would assume through the end of December. But that's just a guess. Once again, I've never had the McRib. Number 8, Oklahoma's superintendent is forcing students to watch him pray on a video. Oklahoma's superintendent of public instruction, which is basically just the person in charge of all public schools in Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, has been doubling down on forcing Christianity on Oklahoma's public schools. This all started when he first mandated that Bibles be in each classroom in every public school across Oklahoma and teach that, quote, the Bible and the Ten Commandments are foundational for Western civilization. So it's this idea of this new history that they're going to teach to make sure that patriots are front and forward, but also God-fearing patriots, right? So it's like we have to find a space to hold both the Bible, and the Constitution. The order was handed down this summer, and a bid for documents stipulated that the Bibles that are in these classrooms must include founding documents that also happen to be included in a Bible that Trump was hawking for $60 a piece. So, as you can imagine, this order led to a lawsuit from a group of parents, teachers, and faith leaders who argued that it was, quote, highly unlikely that any of the Bibles other than the ones Trump is selling could meet the specifications. It's almost as though the idea of church and state separated the fact that any Bibles in the US would have the Constitution in it, because not everybody who lives in the United States is an American citizen first and foremost. Second of all, not every person who lives in the United States and follows the Constitution is a Christian and reads the Bible. Second of all, it's all just very, I would say, odd. I don't think it's odd. I think it's very spot on for where we are right now, especially within a state like Oklahoma. Well, now, as you can imagine, this isn't where he ended. So take a look.
We are excited to announce a new office here in the Oklahoma State Department of Education. That will be the Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism. For too long in this country, we've seen the radical left attack individuals' religious liberty in our schools. We will not tolerate that in Oklahoma. Your religious liberties will be protected. We've also seen patriotism mocked and a hatred for this country pushed by woke teachers' unions. We will not tolerate that in any school in Oklahoma. We want our students to be patriotic. We want our students to love this country. And we want all students' religious liberty to be protected. I will now say a prayer. And to be clear, students, you don't have to join. But if you so wish, I'm going to go ahead and pray. Dear God, thank you for all the blessings you've given our country. I pray for our leaders to make the right decisions. I pray in particular for President Donald Trump and his team as they continue to bring about change to the country. I pray for our parents, teachers, and kids that they get the best education possible and live high quality lives. I also pray that we continue to teach love of country to our young people and that our students understand what makes America great and that they continue to love this country. Amen.
So according to the Oklahoman, a local newspaper based out of Oklahoma, obviously, at least 7 large Oklahoma school districts said Friday that they have no intention of showing this video in the schools. The state attorney's general office backed the districts up, saying there is no statutory authority for the state school superintendent to require all students to watch a specific video. Not only is this edict unenforceable, it is contrary to parents' rights, local control, and individual free exercise rights, which is literally in the Constitution that he is trying to force down people's throat via Bible. Let it be known that the attorney general for Oklahoma is a Republican, so the left is not at fault here. Ryan Walters went on CNN and had a discussion about where things stand.
As you know, your state's attorney general's office says you don't have the authority for this mandate to play that prayer video. So what authority do you have to mandate schools to show your prayer video where you also pray for President-elect Trump?
Look, I've continued to hear the gaslighting from the left, and frankly, even from this network, pushing lies about what's going on across America. President Trump has a clear mandate. He wants prayer back in school. He wants radical leftism out of the classroom, wants our kids to be patriotic, want parents back in charge with school choice. We're enacting upon that agenda here in Oklahoma. That's what our parents want. Every county in Oklahoma voted for President Trump. His agenda is crystal clear, and we're going to enact it in the state of Oklahoma.
So, might just be me, but it seems as though Mr. Walters is trying to gluck his way to a cabinet position within the Trump administration. So let's break it down. He is spending $60 a piece on Trump Bible specifically. He is trying to re-implement prayer in schools because he says there's, quote, a mandate by electing Trump to put prayer in schools. There hadn't, at this point in time, been a cabinet nomination for the Department of Education. Yeah, the gluck can be happening. Get up off your knees. He's not going to pick you. Side note, speaking of cabinet positions, I know I owe you a deep dive. I was going to publish the deep dive this last week, but on Wednesday, Trump said he's going to have all of his cabinet positions picked by Friday. And so finally we have it all. And I figure it's just easier to give you all the information in one fell swoop rather than a deep dive that actually isn't that deep because not everybody had been announced yet. So stay tuned. I'm going to get that up sometime this week. Promise. Number 7, Ellen DeGeneres has officially moved to the United Kingdom and dyed her hair brown. The 66-year-old former talk show host has recently relocated to the English countryside and, according to a new video, has switched up her look to mark the new chapter. In a November 13th joint Instagram post from the British pub The Farmer's Dog and singer-songwriter Natalie Imbruglia, DeGeneres can be seen enjoying an intimate live music performance alongside her wife, Portia de Rossi. The clip shows Imbruglia and friends singing along with the music before it pans to DeGeneres and de Rossi, 51, who was waving to the camera. Instead of her signature platinum blonde hair, the comedian appears to be rocking a shorter, darker look. Here is a picture of Ellen right now. If you're listening to this, you cannot see it. You should go look on YouTube. But basically, it's a short pixie style cut with like a mousy brown style of hair, color of hair. Not style of hair, but you know what I mean. Honestly, I love this for Ellen. I think that she has had her day in the sun in the United States, and I think it's time for her to start a new chapter, which could be in the English countryside. And I was really thinking about this for a minute. This really stands by the idea that celebrities have started to actually hold true on their promises of like, if this happens, then I will do this. Like, she literally said, like, I'm going to leave the country if Trump is elected. And she started looking back in October for a house, I guess, in the English countryside, found one she loved, put an offer in it. So this wasn't like a spur of the moment decision. It was like, hey, I'm preparing for my future with my wife as a married lesbian couple, when the Supreme Court is consistently saying like, you know, same-sex marriage might be on the table for getting cut. And she said, all right, fine. I'm not going to take that bet. I'm willing to move somewhere else. But here is my theory. Okay, first of all, the English countryside is lovely. I would move there myself if I could, regardless of who the president is. I just think it's a lovely location. But think about the fact that she had a really, really long-running, very popular TV show here in the United States for years, right? All of a sudden, people said that she had a toxic work environment, and I think that's why it kind of went under. She was like, quote unquote, canceled because people said that she was difficult to work for and mean and, I don't know, was abusive part of it? I don't know. It was just bad all around. What if she decided that she was going to do her, she's only 66. What if she decided she was going to do a second act in the UK? They love somebody with her type of energy, somebody who's a little bit more conservative, quote unquote, in the way they speak. And because she was, quote unquote, canceled, they'd be like, oh my God, she'd be the perfect one over here. Like, I feel as though it's that type of humor also, kind of slapstick, kind of silly, not like too offbeat that they would think it was weird. And like, she's obviously very well known. So like, what if she moved to the UK and decided, you know what, I'm going to restart the Ellen DeGeneres show, but it's going to be in the UK. I think people would eat it up. I think that's something that she should consider if she has not already. Ellen, I'm rooting for you, but from all the way over here in the United States. Number 6, speaking of things that the Republican Party have actually been super against, gay marriage in the Supreme Court, Republicans have gone all in on anti-trans bathroom bullshit this week after the first openly trans congresswoman was elected from Delaware. Stay with me. I'm sure you've seen some of this noise. I'm going to keep it very brief because people are crazy, but you do need to know things that are happening in your Congress so that you can make active, informed decisions about who you support in politics in the future, or who you're supporting now, or what bills you need to pay attention to, whatever. Once again, knowing a little bit about a lot of it, okay? So Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace from South Carolina has gone full big government in her attempt to bully incoming Delaware Democratic Congresswoman Sarah McBride, who was the first openly trans person to sit in Congress. Nancy Mace introduced a new resolution that bans all trans women from the women's restroom within the House chamber. And obviously, as you can expect, some of the worst people have big thoughts on this.
Nancy Mace has a new resolution that would ban transgender women from using the women's bathroom at the Capitol. Is that something that you would support, or like what are your? It's a brand new resolution that was just introduced in the last hour or two.
Oh, gotcha. I support a resolution that keeps all biological men out of women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and private places, not only here in the Capitol complex, our office buildings, but all taxpayer-funded facilities.
How does one, I guess the logistics question would be, how does one check, like, if someone is qualified to use the ladies' room then in that case? Obviously, there's a new openly transgender member of Congress, but
right, which is
more
a
generally.
Man. He's a man. He's a biological male, so he is not allowed to use our women's restrooms, our women's gym, our locker rooms, and our spaces that are specified for women. He's a biological male. He has plenty of places he can go.
Okay, and should they make gender neutral bathrooms? I guess logistically,
No,
what happens if they have to go to the
in
bathroom?
the men's room, and he has a bathroom in his office, just like all of us do. And that's where, I use the restroom most of the time in my office. If he has a bathroom that'll be designated for him. But, men need to respect our spaces. And that's what this election was all about. This was a mandate from the American people that are not only fed up with the open borders, they're fed up with inflation, they're fed up with the economy, but they're fed up with the left shoving their sick trans ideology down our throats and invading our spaces in our women's sports. So sorry for the uncomfortable question, but I'm giving you the direct answer. The American people spoke at the election. They're sick of this shit. And so the new member of Congress that was voted into Congress on behalf of his district in Delaware needs to respect my space, my privacy, and other women's space and privacy, because he is not a woman. So that's my answer.
Today and last night for fighting to protect women and girls, it's ridiculous. So if that being a feminist makes me an extremist, I'm totally here for it.
Is this effort in response to Congresswoman McBride's coming to Congress?
Yes, and absolutely, and then some. I'm not going to stand for a man, if someone with a penis is in the women's locker room, that's not okay.
Hello, everybody. I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
So those are videos from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a Republican congresswoman from Georgia, Nancy Mace, who is the Republican congresswoman from South Carolina that introduced the bathroom bill, and Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson from Louisiana. Beyond what Mike Johnson said in that video, he continued with additional statements, quote, all single-sex facilities in the Capitol and House office buildings, such as restrooms, changing rooms, and locker rooms, are reserved for individuals of that biological sex. Women deserve women's only spaces. So before I get into the Democratic response to this, do you have nothing better to do with your time than bully one singular member of Congress? I mean, I think that if this was a big enough issue that you wanted to take care of, you could have done that in the last 2 years where you had control over the House of Representatives. I just don't understand. I mean, I understand completely. Nancy Mace literally said this is because of Sarah McBride. It's just like, I don't understand when people elected you to deal with inflation, allegedly, that your number one thing that you're going to start introducing is a literal bathroom bill, which went down in flames in North Carolina. I just don't know how you're going to find people who are in swingy areas to support this when their people were like, hey, so I actually didn't elect you to hate trans people. I elected you to lower the cost of my eggs. Okay, so now let's take a look at how the Democrats responded, which I think can be broken down really nicely and cleanly into two different ways of thinking. The first is calling out the lies of what the priorities, quote unquote, were supposed to be of the new Congress, which everyone said was eggs and inflation, and Republicans go anti-trans. And the second is calling this whole bullshit thing a distraction from what is actually supposed to be happening, which is working on behalf of the American people. So let's take a quick look at the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat out of New York, and what he has to say.
Related issues, we can talk about this legislation all day. Should there be accommodations made for trans members of Congress, and if so, what should they be?
As Catherine Clark indicated, the notion that this incoming small House Republican conference majority is beginning to transition to the new Congress by bullying a member of Congress. This is what we're doing. This is the lesson that you've drawn from the election in November. This is your priority, that you want to bully a member of Congress as opposed to welcoming her to join this body so that all of us can work together to get things done and deliver real results for the American people. I think it it causes you to have to ask the question, what was all the rhetoric about over the last several months on the campaign trail? Did you lie to the American people? Are you really focused on solving problems for the American people? Are you really focused on lowering costs, addressing the high cost of living? Are you really focused on housing prices? Apparently not. Are you really focused on grocery prices? Apparently not. Are you focused, as Republicans, on building a healthy economy? Apparently you are not. And we will not hesitate to call that out every time they lean into their far-right extremism and ignore the things that the American people want us as members of Congress to focus on together.
And then regarding this being a distraction, Sarah McBride, the trans member of Congress, actually came out with a statement on her own, which I think is really, really important. And it's really important that all the Democrats picked up this and ran with it, because I think it perfectly encapsulates what is happening at this moment. Quote, "I'm not here to fight about bathrooms. I'm here to fight for Delawareans and to bring down costs facing families. Like all members, I will follow the rules as outlined by Speaker Johnson, even if I disagree with them. The effort to distract from the real issues facing this country hasn't distracted me over the last several days, as I've remained hard at work preparing to represent the greatest state in the union come January. Serving in the 119th Congress will be the honor of a lifetime, and I continue to look forward to getting to know my future colleagues on both sides of the aisle. Each of us were sent here because voters saw something in us that they value. I have loved getting to see those qualities in the future colleagues that I've met, and I look forward to seeing those qualities in every member come January. I hope all my colleagues will seek to do the same with me." I think she's fantastic. I think that's a great statement. I don't know if she wrote it or if it was written in part with her staff, but whoever wrote that is very good at messaging, because like, hey, I'm here because the people of Delaware wanted me to come and work on their behalf. Why are you yelling at me about a bathroom? Like, every member has a bathroom in their own place. You could have very easily just been like, hey, I feel uncomfortable with this, and then maybe had a discussion with her instead of bullying people online that you've never met because you're actively a transphobe. So breaking it down, my conclusion is this: Republicans work best when they are the party of opposition. They have no desire to govern, and they have no desire to work on behalf of the American people. That has been very obvious for years, but it's extra obvious now, when this is their number one priority. They have control over Congress now, and they have control over Congress for the next 2 years. And what they've decided to do, first and foremost, is be bullies, because that's all they know how to do. Because they're the party of grievance, they also have to pull shit like this every single time so that they can continue to victimize themselves and say, look, we're the ones at fault here, so we're fighting for you, okay? We're the ones that have an issue. Notice what Nancy Mace did was introduce a House resolution saying Sarah McBride can't pee in the women's restroom. They didn't say anything about, I'm going to introduce the statewide where we're doing bathroom bans across the country, because they know what they're doing is actively damaging and historically unpopular. People don't care that deeply about this type of thing. It's just, I mean, yes, there are people that care about this. In the order of operations of things that are going to be the most important, this is nowhere near the top, because so many places have unisex bathrooms now. And in case you're curious what a unisex bathroom is, it is a bathroom that anybody can pee in. Not at the same time, it's a single-use bathroom. It's like the one on an airplane. That is a unisex bathroom. Nobody's being like, oh, there was a man peeing in there before I peed, so now I can't pee in there. There aren't two different bathrooms, a men's bathroom and a women's bathroom on an airplane. You pee when you have to pee. Nobody's hanging out in there. You get in, get your stuff done, and leave, weirdos. And perhaps the weirdest part about all of this is that Nancy Mace, in the first 72 hours of introducing this, tweeted about the bathroom bill an absurd amount of times. Look at this.
Honestly, transphobic Cruella de Vil's logic might backfire here, because all of her drama, ironically, is affirming Sarah McBride's gender. There is nothing that defines the female experience more than starting a new job and a woman at work just decides she hates you. And Nancy Mace really seems to hate Sarah McBride. It's like it's her full-time job.
In just 72 hours on X, Representative Nancy Mace has posted about trans women in bathrooms more than 325 times.
What the 325 tweets? How can anyone else even use the bathroom when Mace is on the toilet tweeting all day? Oh my God. I have never hated anything so much that I had to buy a new data plan. That is way too much tweeting. Even Elon Musk is like, have you considered joining Blue Sky?
And if that didn't do anything for you, I think perhaps this can all be best summed up by Illinois Democrat Congressman Eric Sorensen, who tweeted, "The thing about Nancy Mace is the fact that literally no one likes her. She sits alone in votes, and no GOP members will walk with her or even acknowledge her. Explains a lot about the toddler temper tantrum as Sarah McBride is so welcomed on Capitol Hill." Nancy Mace, I recommend you get a therapist for this instead of just screaming on the internet. It's not going to help. Number 5, Ariana Grande impersonator Paige Neiman has officially been banned on TikTok and Instagram. Now, if you're like me and you spend a lot of time on the internet but didn't know that there was an impersonator and didn't know that people were celebrating that she got banned, it's probably because you aren't a part of stan culture. And therefore, I looked up all of this information. I'm going to read directly to you what this is so that we have a little grasp around the concept of to why it might have been important that she got banned. Okay. Ariana Grande impersonator Paige Neiman has been banned from using her social media handles. The pop star's lookalike 20 had her Instagram and TikTok accounts suspended, likely due to their use by Neiman to promote her not safe for work impersonation of Grande. Stay with me here. Neiman, born in California, rose to fame in 2019. The creator took TikTok by storm with her seemingly uncanny resemblance to Grande, racking up over 10 million followers. Her repertoire includes dressing up like the singer, recreating photos from her wedding with her former husband, Dalton Gomez, and copying her makeup, mannerisms, and even the high ponytail. It wasn't until Neiman went viral for lip-syncing a line by Cat Valentine, the character Grande portrayed on Nickelodeon show Victorious and Sam and Cat, while dressed like the singer, that she first caught wind of her impersonator. So that was Ariana Grande catching wind of Paige Neiman. That just existed. When Paige decided in 2022 to announce her OnlyFans account, fans freaked out. Quote, "Paige Neiman starting an OnlyFans cosplaying as Ariana Grande is one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen. In my opinion, this is going too far and is disgusting, weird, and insanely disrespectful." A second tweet hit, "Nah, with all due respect, I don't give a fuck about Paige Neiman because all the things she did was simply for attention. By starting an OnlyFans and cosplaying as Ariana Grande is really weird and disgusting. Just be yourself for once." So it sounds as though she was banned from TikTok and Instagram with, tens of millions of followers because she started, and this isn't funny. I'm sorry I laughed. It's comical of like how this happened. Because she started an OnlyFans where she was cosplaying Ariana Grande. And people were like, "I don't think you actually look like that. I think you actually got a lot of plastic surgery and fillers and like cosmetic stuff done to look more like Ariana Grande." But this woman's like, no, I didn't. I just look like this. And so like the argument was like, if that's what you look like, starting an OnlyFans, like you can't really, it's kind of like that woman who looks like Taylor Swift, Ashley, I think is her name on social media. And people like will see Ashley walking around and like cry. And it's like, okay, well, Ashley, you cut your hair just like that. And also you wear red lipstick. I see why people would have thought. Anyway, that's a whole separate conversation. But so Paige got banned from these social media apps because she is doing OnlyFans is what it seems. OnlyFans, not as Paige, even though it is as Paige, but she's kind of like, wink, wink, doing it as Ariana Grande. So people don't know whether she's made any attempt to recover her socials. So until that day, Ariana Grande is the only Ariana Grande on the internet, wherever you see it. Number 4, singer Khalid came out as gay via post on social media this week. The 26-year-old singer that you definitely know from songs like Lovely with Billie Eilish, or East Side with Halsey, or maybe even his own hit songs, Young, Dumb, and Broke. Well, he came out as gay on social media this week. However, it seems like this wasn't really intentional. He does say that he was outed and responded with, quote, "I got outed and the world still continues to turn. Let's get this straight, LMAO. I am not ashamed of my sexuality. In reality, it ain't nobody's business, but I am okay with me, black heart emoji." So he has responses to a tweet, but there's also a comment with the rainbow flag, 3 exclamation points, that says, "There you go, next topic, please, LOL." And then somebody named Mr. Chilla said, "Wait, hope Mr. Khalid isn't gay, Gehhh." And he goes, "I am, and that's okay." So I was like, okay, like that's really random. Like this must have come from something. It absolutely did. So the post came shortly after ex-user Hugo Almonte went on a posting rampage about the artists that he had sex with and wrote that, quote, one of your favorite gay R&B singers once offered him drugs and, quote, tried to set me up and lie that I broke into his house. Almonte, who has his own music, it has less than 750 monthly listeners, claimed that the, quote, gay artists that are out there right now are shitty as fuck. He followed up the post by sharing a photo with Khalid. So that's literally calling Khalid out. And if you're saying like all the people you had sex with, then you share that photo, people know. Following his post on social media, Almonte said in a statement to Rolling Stone, clout chaser, that it was his intention to, quote, share how he tried to use power to silence me because I simply ended our relationship, though did not name Khalid directly. Almonte claimed that he has received death threats and said, quote, it's crazy that these people said I was chasing clout, when I was holding on to this for 5 years and I finally had enough. Before I get into the secondary part of this, first and foremost, outing somebody is never okay. Doesn't matter if you wanted to get out of something, if you're brokenhearted, whatever the situation might be, in no scenario is outing somebody else okay. Let's just get that out there. The R&B star was quickly defended by fans and fellow gay artists, including producer MNEK. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but all capital letters, MNEK, and Amorphous, who condemned Almonte's post. In an ex-post from Amorphous, he said, quote, your music can barely allow you to afford a small fry at Jack in the Box, and you're pressed about outing someone who has 3 diamond records. Y'all are not the same, babes. If you're intentionally going out of your way to be shady or cause mess, do not be shocked if your failing music career is brought up. 8. Okay, Amorphous 8. That's a good response. Next, pop R&B producer MNEK said, loser, 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 loser behavior. And I think that sums it up right there. Number 3, Shake Shack will now be served on Delta flights out of Boston starting in December. So this partnership kicks off December 1st, but it will only be available on A, flights out of Boston that are B, over 900 miles, and are C, only for people sitting in first class. Something about this tells me that first class customers don't need to get free Shake Shack. They could probably just grab that out of the, the Logan airport? Is that the one in Boston? First class passengers can pre-select a Shake Shack cheeseburger for their meal option, the airline said. Shake Shack's full menu will not be available in the skies. Customers can choose their entree via Delta's app or its website starting 7 days a week before the flight and ending 24 hours in advance of takeoff. So literally for 1 to 7 days before your flight. Delta's managing director of onboard services, Stephanie Laster, said in a statement that, quote, a delicious cheeseburger is an iconic comfort food. Our customers know that, which is why burgers are on the top ordered food items we offer. And we're thrilled to elevate the offering with Shake Shack. Delta has said that Shake Shack will plan to serve burgers on additional flights in other markets throughout 2025. I'm curious if there's going to be like an In-N-Out partnership with this, because I feel like Shake Shack is very like similar in a cult following as like an In-N-Out. And I feel like In-N-Out will want to get in on this money, but likely not with Delta if Delta's already doing this. So maybe they'll partner with somebody like, I know Southwest and United, are those the ones out of the Bay Area or LA? Because that's Shake Shack. No, In-N-Out territory, right? Is Southern California? I don't know, but I personally don't think that I need to get a burger on my flight from Shake Shack. I think that I'd rather just buy it myself and eat it in the airport and then throw it away so it doesn't smell like fast food on my flight. I don't know. That goes to my rules and regulations about like flying is don't bring stinky ass food on a flight, whether it be like greasy or super spiced or whatever. It's like the people around you are stuck in a cylinder tube for at least apparently 900 miles. So maybe do a little bit of research as to what is going to stink, because I feel like fry grease and burgers are not going to be like the best thing to sit next to, because it just gets kind of stale when you're in a restaurant and your clothes just smell like grease and oil. That's not ideal. Number 2, the 2025 Coachella lineup was announced this week. I think the most important thing is, first and foremost, I have been to Coachella twice. Once flying down from Seattle, and once when I was living in London. I flew my ass back to LA, drove down to Palm Springs because I needed to see Beyonce at Coachella, and I don't regret that. What I do love this year is that they released the lineup by days. They didn't just release an entire list of the folks, which they usually do when they announce it. They released it by days, and this is kind of the first time I'm digesting it, so we're just going to talk through the announcement together. So the headliners, Lady Gaga, which I saw the first time I was in Coachella when she was supposed to when it was supposed to be Beyonce that was headlining, and then she got pregnant, and then Lady Gaga filled, and it was an insane show. It was so good. So I'm happy she's going back. Green Day, interesting pick, and Post Malone, which we love. I guarantee it's going to be mostly his new country stuff, but probably mixed in with some of his other songs like Wildflower. Yeah, he has a ton of songs. I could see him doing mostly the country music portion of this because that is his new big album. Also, I could see him headlining Stagecoach, which is I think the weekend after Coachella, and just like kind of staying in that area and being like, I'm doing country 2 weekends in a row. That makes sense to me. Other big names include on Friday, Missy Elliott, Benson Boone. He is really being third on a Friday. He's had an astronomical launch in music. Wasn't he supposed to be on American Idol, but then he decided he was going to drop out of the competition, which, if I'm thinking correctly, that was a great idea. Like, how many people from American Idol have actually made it big where he decided to do all this on his own? And look, now he's the third person under Lady Gaga and Missy Elliott at Coachella. That's pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. Other Friday names, Lisa, FKA Twigs. These are just people that I'm naming because the Marias are there. I don't really know the Marias. The Prodigy. Lisa was from, I want to say Blackpink. So she's been there before because I think Blackpink performed last year. Glorilla will be there. Joe, is that how you pronounce it? DJO. Isn't that the one with the guy from Stranger Things, if I'm not mistaken? But they've got like the When I'm Back in Chicago, I Feel It. Like, that's the only song I know, if that's the right person. Tyla will be there, which will be fun. She'll be very fun to see live. Mike Snow, who hasn't had a song in quite some time. 3 6 Mafia, St. John. And that's kind of the end of the list of people that I recognize on Friday. Saturday, under Green Day, it's Charlie XCX. I don't know what are the original Misfits. It's in like a weird font too. So is that, I don't know what that is. Does not matter. Above and Beyond, Anita, which I believe is Anita the other one that was in, no, she's not K-pop, right? I know there was another girl on here who was K-pop, but she's here solo. Like a Jenny. Anyway, going on, Claro and Hyphen, T-Pain, Sam Fender, Japanese Breakfast, Jimmy Eat World. I don't know how to pronounce it. Alok, A-L-O-K. I think it's a DJ, and I'm pretty sure I know some of his stuff. That's all. Yo Gabba Gabba. Isn't that a children's? Oh, no. There are going to be a lot of people on drugs watching that one, huh? Because isn't that the puppets? The big-ass puppets? All right, Sunday, Post Malone, and then Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion being under Post Malone is insane work to me. They must have said, like, Megan, you want too much, you're going to be second in line, or some shit, because having her as not the headliner over Post Malone is crazy. Zed will be there. Jenny. Yeah, I was right. Okay, Jenny was the other one from Blackpink. So Anita, I think, is just somebody else. I recognize the name, though. Kraftwerk, Bia Badoobie, Polo and Pan, Still Woozy, Shabuzi, Ty Dolla $ign. And once again, then you start to get down into the people that I don't recognize, which I'm sure are good. And here's the thing I love about festivals, but specifically Coachella, because you get there early enough that you just experience the desert a little bit. You actually do get to see a lot of artists that you wouldn't have even known about before. I actually saw artists that I didn't know I knew their music until I got there and saw them. And I was like, oh my God, that's right. That's this person. And then I was like, oh wait, that's this person. It's just a classic way of experiencing a music festival. I have a bunch of friends going, and I debated going. Tickets are like $550 for the weekend, which isn't bad. It's just like back in my heyday, they were like $400, which I thought was expensive then, but it's like, it's $150 more expensive. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'll let you guys know if I make that decision. And number one this week, Wicked, the movie, is officially out and available. As you can tell, I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm wearing a green hat. My little mic has a green light. My coffee's coaster is green. I'm a big Wicked guy. It was a lot of fun. I saw it early at a pre-screening. I did cry like 5 times. But you know what? That is because of the love of the art, everyone. Okay? So it debuted originally with 96% on Rotten Tomatoes with 45 reviewers in. Right now, as of, what is today? The 24th of November, which it was released 2 days ago. It now has 263 reviews. So these are of like professionals, like writers. And it sits at 90%, which isn't horrible. I do disagree with some of them that was like, it's too long, or I don't think that it did a good job differentiating itself from a musical. And it's like, first of all, it shouldn't have to differentiate itself from a musical, right? It's like, it's a musical movie based off of the musical. What do you mean differentiate itself? In what context would that make sense? I should have also told you, I'm not going to give any spoilers in this section, but I will be doing the first episode of Yappy Hour, which I teased a couple weeks ago, with my friend Jess, who you've met as my co-host at a previous episode, later this week, because she went to the pre-screening with me and actually has seen it once more since I saw her last. And we are fully going to just chat and drink and reminisce over Wicked and the fantastic piece of art that it was, so you can listen back in there. So anyway, continuing on, 90% with 263 reviews. However, with over 10,000 ratings from people who have seen it, people like me who are not a reviewer or a professional reviewer, it is sitting at 97% with over 10,000 views. I cannot tell you enough that it is worth your time. And people ask me all the time, Ben, I'm actually not a musical person, but I really want to see this. Or Ben, like, I loved the musical so much. Is this going to be worth my time? Or is Ben, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Is it worth it? Yes. Every single one. Yes. Go see it. 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 This is going to be, think about like Barbenheimer, right? Where that was like the biggest weekend and people were talking about that for months. This might be more impactful than Barbenheimer, I have to tell you. For example, Ariana Grande already leads Variety's Best Supporting Actress predictions for the Oscars, which also includes Zoe Saldana on Emilia Perez on Netflix. It also includes Isabella Rossellini from Conclave. It also includes Saoirse Ronan from Blitz, which is on Apple TV. And it also includes Monica Barbaro, which is from A Complete Unknown, which is a Searchlight Pictures movie. All in all, I would like Cynthia Erivo to win Best Actress. I would like Ariana Grande to win Best Supporting Actress. I would like Wicked to win Movie of the Year. I would like Wicked to win Best Score. I would like Wicked to win the Best the production or whatever. I wanted to win every single award. Not even that it could, just every single award, period. It was a masterpiece. I didn't have one single critique, and I cannot wait to have you guys back for Yappy Hour, where I can actually give you 150% of my real time opinions on what that incredible film had to offer. And with that, that's it. That's our news of the week. Thank you again for listening to Ben Keenan Just Can't Stop Talking. Another week of things that you've learned, hopefully learned, or you know what, already knew and enjoyed discussing a little bit more with me and hearing what I have to say about all this. Because if it's not you, it's going to be my mom, and she is sick and tired of hearing from me 6 times a day. Per usual, make sure to subscribe both on podcast, where you can find me at now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm hoping to expand that into some other spots, or on YouTube at Ben Keenan. It's just, under its own little thing. I post them there so you can see me or listen to me there if you'd prefer. I'm also on social media. I'm at Ben Keenan on Instagram. I'm at I've Been Traveling on TikTok. I'm using Threads more if you want to go through my Instagram page and use that. All in all, I'm everywhere. You can find me everywhere. Until then, I will talk to you next week, where there's definitely going to be more to talk about, because there's always something to talk about. Thanks.